laughing at all of this. Oh, and we don't even have a curtain today. We're just doing it in the living room. There is no apologies. We're just doing it in the living room. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. It has been a day. Thank you for being here. Hello, Lauren. Our buddy Mike is here. The missus will be joining us, but she is having a day. It is just not easy lately. So we're going to be talking about that, the Autoimmunity Foundation, as well as the big road trip recap. That's what's going on this evening. Pretty much what happened on part one. This is part two. On part one, Mike basically took over interviewing us, which worked out very well. I have a feeling we'll be doing something like that. There he is right there. I have a feeling we'll be doing something like that again to fill in all the blanks, and there will be some stories to get to as well. The missus will be here shortly. When I get to the desk, I'll tell you all about that. But how you doing, Mike? How's it going, fella?
I'm doing very well. I've had a lovely, lovely day. I just came back from watching my 5-year-old granddaughter at a mixed martial arts class where she absolutely dominated a 6-year-old, which I'm very excited about.
That's amazing. How old is she?
It's like watching bear cubs wrestle.
Bear cubs wrestle. How old is she?
She's 5. And the girl that she was wrestling was a year older and has more experience, size advantage. But Alara is really learning her technique, and that just excites me to no end to watch her do this.
Wow, I love that. So here we are. We'll just start it up from here. No need to do the pump. Although, we can't forget about our buddy Will. And Johnny Lieberman.
I'm Johnny Lieberman, and you're watching LNP. What does LNP stand for?
Late Night Playset.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I've been on there. Yeah, good show. You should like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
All right, we'll call that done.
Hey!
And we're back. I've left my blue car in the other room, though, so I'll be right back.
All right. I'll fill in. That cold open was spectacular.
Were you saying something? I'm sorry.
No, I said the cold open was spectacular, and it was great.
Yeah,
it was like sometimes you would watch Cheers, and sometimes you would get the entire opening to the show, but then sometimes you would get the truncated version of it where it just, the intro to the song happened, and then the outro to the song happened, and it got right to the action in our favorite bar in Boston.
I do know what you mean, the short credits and the long credits. Thursday, August 3rd, 2023. It's the USA Grand Tour Recap, Part 2, Numero Dos.
Part 2.
It's funny, yeah, we would just talk, wasn't it last week, or the other day? By the way, still a blur. Nicole and I are not back to normal yet by any stretch of the words. Was that conversation the other day about Ghostbusters? Was that on this show? Did we just do that?
Yeah, we talked about that.
Whew, thank goodness.
I loved that symbol so much in the videos and everything, like the posters when Ghostbusters 2 was announced and all of that. I thought it was fantastic. I was just, even as 12 years old when it came out. 88, right? Is it 88 it came out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was 12, and even as a 12-year-old I was like, it doesn't make sense to have the 2 on the Ecto 1. That doesn't make sense to me. Like, as a 12-year-old, that didn't,
on the firehouse, on the car, and on the uniforms.
Yeah,
it didn't make sense there. In the marketing materials, in the flyers they'd throw out, and the mugs for the kids and everything, totally fine. But I agree with you; they wouldn't have changed it.
But it wasn't there during the birthday party, was it? They were in their regular Ghostbusters uniform for the party, and it was "We're back, baby" when that showed up in the movie, correct?
Correct. After they basically were bringing the business back. So it was sort of like, it's the comeback of the Ghostbuster. Sorry, I'm not used to being here alone, so I'm on a different camera. Hello, camera 1. Will, we're back on you, camera 1. Yeah, there's I know so much about that franchise. I don't know what I've said before, and I don't know what needs to be said or not. Trivia-wise, it's kind of interesting. The scene you bring up, that birthday party in the beginning, there's some interesting things there. One, everybody probably knows that the kid that's kind of a brat is actually Ivan Reitman's kid, Jason Reitman. The kid who said,
"We want
my dad says you guys are full of crap." Well, some people have a difficult time believing in the paranormal. No, he just says you guys are full of crap. His dad, of course, would be Ivan Reitman, so that's kind of funny. Secondly, that scene takes place in like an apartment somewhere in maybe a brownstone or something. It's filmed on the third floor of the actual Ghostbusters firehouse. That was the chief's quarters. And if you look closely, knowing that, you can see Maltese crosses all over that room, hidden in the design of the room, because they're really there, both in the ceiling molding, the mirror that's above the fireplace, all of the wooden molding and trim around the room. It's kind of funny. Maltese cross, if you don't know, is the symbol for firefighters. I'm telling you all this shit. It's supposed to be talking about the trip. Anyway, Ghostbusters. Go watch it. It's a great movie. Although we did watch the new one with Danbury Chive while we were on this trip. So there's kind of a tie-in. Afterlife.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, we did. So now here's the thing. I rebooted everything. Now, they did a system software update over here, right? Because when we left a month ago, everything was working swimmingly, other than we need some new iPhones. If anybody has a used iPhone sitting in their drawer, 11 or newer, we will happily take it off your hands. But and then I can't tell. Sometimes there's just people just aren't there. It's not like we've got a huge show here. So I just never know. But currently there's nothing happening there. And that's what happened the other day. Which means maybe I should bring the Instagram people over to the desk. Nicole and I did some talking after the show the other day. We feel the need to pare down what's going on in here. There's simply too much going on around here. The simplicity of just getting the iPhone and recording a video at the windshield every day for 90 seconds was like more our speed. I think we've proved that you can do what we've done here. Now it's time to do something else, and we're trying to figure out what that is. Evolution happens, period. And, what the original intentions were for this thing, we've achieved them tenfold, other than getting Letterman here, which will be awesome when that happens. But in the meantime, we're trying to figure out, do we go back to the dining room table? Do we keep the Letterman stuff but set it up differently? Maybe more Letterman-like? We're figuring it out. But if you see me around here looking like my suit doesn't fit, that's how we feel. We feel like our suit doesn't fit currently.
That's a great analogy for it. You certainly have. And I think the one thing about this show that as I've kind of gone through each of the eras, because I came to the table, really, it's only been about a year and a half. And so I've watched the different eras of the show. And I think one of the things about this show that is kind of neat is that it does evolve. And it does, like the shows that we watched growing up, the sets would change, things would change, angles would change. And where you guys are at from a topical standpoint of where the show is at, it certainly does make sense for you guys to pare it down and maybe simplify things. So I think everybody would see that that's a natural progression.
Well, more to come on that. We'll figure it out. We built a production facility here, which it will remain, but I think, maybe the environment will change a little bit. Maybe the production design. Maybe it's simply that. Maybe the production design of this whole this little area will change, or we'll set it up different. I don't know. Like I said, we're figuring it out. A lot of
the best of times, you love to tinker, right?
Yeah, and then the other thing you mentioned, the show has changed through the eras. I mean, it really, I don't know if it's changed so much as it's born and died so many different times, because we were doing one thing in the beginning and then we got this stuff. So then we changed radically what we were doing just because it felt silly to do the old thing from this stuff. And then that went in its own direction. I feel like we said this maybe a few months ago, maybe 6 months ago, where some of that Life with the Ryan stuff needs to come back, especially while Nicole is, I hate to use this word, but failing. I mean, she's this disease, multiple sclerosis, has been horrible to her. We know a lot of people who have it. We deal with a lot of people who see it and deal with it. And her case is awful. And it's kind of ironic because just like everything else, it started a different way. In the beginning, it was so mild isn't the right word, but maybe the symptoms were so subtle,
manageable,
that they were more of a nuisance type situations where her case was actually, this is the truth, her neurologist at Cedars-Sinai, we were at Cedars back then, in the private sector, and her case was not interesting enough for her neurologist to like pay much attention to. Like he still saw her and all that, but he literally said like, "Oh, you have no idea the other things I'm dealing with. Like you're sort of at the bottom of the list." And we always kind of took that. I think I took it maybe like personally offensive a little bit. Like, well, who the hell are you to say? Now that we're on the other side of that, totally understand what that doctor was talking about. And it's ironic how she went from a case that was sort of there are medical terms for it. Is it acute? Is the small one? No, it's acute is a small angle. I always forget, but
Relapsing,
whatever. It was
remitting, is
relatively
that one?
mild, and it was of the type that is relaxing, remitting, and that's the type that comes and goes.
Yeah.
She's on full blown progressive now, and it's been a downward progressive slide pretty much since. I'm not tying it to COVID because she never got COVID, but like pretty much the time of shutdown and quarantine and all that. I'm not making it political. I'm not trying to make it about that. It just coincided time-wise with then.
Well, I think you did like when you and I met, I think you did my the Men's Mental Wellness podcast. I want to say it was like August or September of 2020. And that's when we started getting to know each other. And it's been
Is that right?
like a descent since then.
Wow, I didn't realize
So-
it had been that long. Yeah, that lines up exactly with what I'm talking about. It would have
Yeah.
been right about the beginning of COVID, which was like
Yeah.
spring of 2020. So you're right.
Yeah. So like
So it's just been brutal since
but-
because she was walking with a cane going into
Yeah.
that period of time, managing it. I mean, she didn't like that she had a cane, but she could get out of the car on her own and things like that.
yeah.
I mean, we're telling you this stuff now. So she was laying naked on the bathroom floor, bleeding because she had scratched her hip the other day, banging it into something else. But she's just trying to get dressed for the show because she was in the shower to wash off before the. No one has any idea what that girl goes through by watching her on this show or seeing us on Instagram or following along the trip or whatever. You know, I'm telling you, we only posted the good stuff. We always knew Nicole was strong and she wasn't a quitter and stuff like that. She is full-blown warrior status these days, like straight up. And I have mentioned to her that like things like this trip that we just did, which would have been crazy radical if she was perfectly healthy for us both to do. Things like that are strengthening her, even though it's taking her apart in this lifetime. I guarantee it, she's going to be set for the next one. Whatever it is, if you believe in the whole multiple lives thing, there's just the yin and yang of it all. There's no way this amount of torture goes unrewarded because she's taking it so well.
Yeah.
You have no, I shouldn't be speaking for her, but it's an overshare. What are you going to do? You have no idea how much that poor girl lays on the floor crying because she can't do anything. It's gut-wrenching. It makes me wish I could do anything. Whenever I see it, I start crying because I can't, you can't not care.
Of course. I mean, you
it
develop
out,
tools
thanks.
to deal with these things. What's that?
I'm just getting it out. Thanks. Would you turn your volume up one click or so I'll try to stop interrupting you?
Oh no, that's okay.
Oh, that's better.
Is that better? Okay,
Yeah, it is.
perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, I guess. So I'm going to ask a question here that, because you are being, insanely vulnerable right now, and I think that's what this show is all about. Is there are times of insane vulnerability.
Or I'm really, really weak, and because my strength thing is missing right now. She's, in the other room still. You know what I mean? Like
well,
I think of her
I
as
mean-
being this core of energy strength that perhaps bleeds over and powers me too sometimes.
Right. Things like this show, you mentioned, what the day is like, and then it's like, okay, summon the strength to clean up, get dressed, and be here for the show here. Clearly, there was an insanely multiplied version of that going on the road trip.
Huh.
Does having something to look forward to, or something that where there's an obligation, for lack of a better term, does that bring purpose to both of you? Does it aim both of you and give you both kind of a singular thing that changes the dynamic of the situation.
In the same way, I don't feel comfortable speaking for her, but for me, absolutely. I think you're right on the money. Right on the money.
Okay.
And I think perhaps I forget how important that is. Maybe I don't know.
Right.
I'm trying to
Right.
make us a little more even here. I don't like how dominant I am in the frame.
Why not?
How's that? There we go. Half and half.
Oh, there we go.
Newcomb's in New York. Very nice.
There we are. Yeah. No, because to me, like I love the fact, like, and I mean, when Candy and I went through what we went through where you're at for about 2 months. We had 2 bad months where it was like, oh, I'm gonna lose her. She can't move. You know, Austin, our youngest, and I were talking about this not too long ago, like, because Candy's in a completely different place now, and he's like, yeah, I remember a few years ago where me and Mike were trying to get you up the stairs into bed because we have 3 floors where we are. We're in a townhouse I'm in a basement right now, then the living quarters, and then the bedroom on top. And Austin was talking about that, and Candy was like, oh, like she kind of had a PTSD moment. She had forgotten how bad it was. And I mean, so I can sort of relate to where you're at. And to me, the days where she had to go get an MRI, or the days where there was something that was like, where there was an obligation that was there, that was like a no-brainer that we had to do, you found some sort of strength. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's like, hey, got to get this done, got to go. And it feels like the show, kind of an anchor, I think is the word I'm looking for.
You're probably. I'm sorry.
No, please.
You're probably right, but I don't know if it's. There are probably levels to that, like everything, right? I think while you're probably right, it may focus more in on not that, oh, we've got a chore to accomplish, other than that chore to accomplish silences all of the other shit. That when you, like, she has no choice but to think all the time. Like we buy a ton of movies on iTunes, yep, in that bargain bin. You know, we talk about it on the show all the time. So she watches movies and medicates with the cannabis to try to, you know, get out of the awfulness that she's in. But if she's not doing either of those, you can only do both of those two things for so long before, like, those two things make you want to blow your brains out. So I feel like it's a bit of a balance, but her major thing is to forget about her situation, which she can't do fully, but she just kind of dulls it a little bit.
Yeah. Put it in the background if you can.
But because I mean, her brain, if you know Nicole at all, forget what she used to do professionally. Just like if you know her at all, she never stops thinking. She overthinks fucking everything. She had to professionally. Maybe she had to as a kid. I have no idea. But she is like hyper aware, and to the point where I think she does it at a cellular level, because if you figure out all that out, extrapolate it, it's basically what MS does. It's like, oh, you're confusing good cells with unhealthy cells, and you're attacking them. Not you, but you're the autoimmune of it all. It's kind of ironic. Yeah, it's kind of ironic. That's like, oh, you can't just settle and find peace.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just awful. Anyway, the road trip. Back to the road trip.
You know, there were, yeah, I wanted to talk about a couple of, you know, again, we're being really vulnerable here. And so like, you know, you've been pretty public on the show here about, you know, your mom. And it's kind of the first time that you guys got a chance to spend some time. And I was curious the whole trip before, while you were there, and there were a couple little updates, you know, and for those who are, you know, Jay and I didn't talk very much while you were on the trip at all. A couple little emails here and there. Like, you were pretty focused on, like, what I basically saw, what most people saw, with a little bit of insights here and there. I have no idea what it was like with your family reuniting, and I'm very curious about that.
Yeah, you're. I mean, there's a lot there in what you just asked. You're right, though. We had intended to do this show, so in the beginning there was a little bit more, and then as that wasn't happening, I think I sent you some frustration, and you let me vent to you a little bit, and then I sort of went radio silent because I realized that, oh, that simply can't be done during this trip like I thought it would be able to. So I was focusing energies elsewhere. Thankfully, you're a good friend and allowed that to happen. I appreciate it. Thank you for understanding. I know you always will understand, but I still have to say it because even the most well-intended people often misunderstand our situation. You asked about Phyllis.
Yeah.
All right, here is the
Yes.
irony. She is the most recent email right before this show. Show from Tuesday. Just watching it now. You both are brilliant. So natural, so funny, so real. Nicole, your short quips are hysterical. Your genuineness is fabulous. So agree with your assessments of the trip. So physically exhausting and daunting, but the rewards far outweigh it. Awesome is the only word to describe the entire experience. You feel small, free, huge. Your mind opens. Your mind forgets. Openness to be creative in the now. I have had that creative experience at sea. Yep, definitely stoned. Love you madly.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yep. So we make it a little bit brighter in here. There we go. Yeah, we had a great time, I think, for the most part in Florida. It was tough. I mean, without going into it, there is a lot of history there. And
Yeah.
I think both people have grown enough that we were able to do something with it and enjoy each other's company. I will say this too, she's got a guy in her life now, which she's always had a guy in her life, but they were always different guys. And this particular guy is really quite something. Nicole and I actually grew incredibly fond of him over the short time we were there. Shout out to Dave, by the way. You've seen him on this show in the background with Phyllis and stuff, but yeah, they're very good together. Dave lets Phyllis be Phyllis, and that is incredibly important to that recipe. If Phyllis feels the freedom to be Phyllis, she's then a better Phyllis. It's hard to describe. Maybe she had a lot of rules when she was a kid, and she always, I don't know, I can't describe, it's not my place to therapize my mother from afar. But overall, it was very, very impressive. All of the old stuff is still there, but it's dulled down a bit. And I feel that because I reacted differently, then it gave her an opportunity to react differently. Does that make sense?
10 years of growth is a long time. A decade of change and a decade of evolution. And,
It's not bad. It's not
you know,
bad. You mean on her
that's
side?
a long time to reflect. What's that?
Do you mean on her side? Or on mine?
I mean, on everybody's side. Like we
Yeah,
all,
but
10 years after.
it doesn't factor into the equation as much as it would if this were an ordinary mother-son relationship. Because I sort of outgrew her in the mother-son dynamic at such an early age. I mean, we've talked about it on this show. She jokes about it. I started calling her Phyllis instead of Mom in like the fourth grade. What are you in fourth grade? 8?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So it was at that point when I was like, it doesn't make sense. You're not playing that role. I'm not gonna go through the pomp and circumstance on my end. And I feel like at that point there was sort of a divide, and I don't know if she ever recognized that until this particular trip. I don't think she ever particularly understood me until this trip, which is interesting. Yeah. I don't know that she does now, but I feel a little bit more understood than I ever had before. And I would imagine that part of that is, like you said, there's time. Part of that is apparent, but maybe part of it is just I'm willing too. I think there's a lot of shit. Like I said, a lot of baggage, and I had a lot of anger for a long time. And I don't know. Yeah. Maybe once that's the Nicole situation, life humbles you quite a bit. Things happen, and you don't hold on to shit anymore. As you go on a road trip, you forget. Your mind opens, and it just seemed not that important. Especially when I saw how not important it was in her eyes. Things that were so important to me, she was like so lackadaisical about. And then I think we said it on the show the other day. If we didn't, we should have. I wish Nicole was here, but it was alarming how many stories came up that she was telling the group, and then I'd throw a detail in or whatever. And she was like, "How would you know?" I'm like, because I was there too. I'm just not part of your story. Like, she wouldn't even remember some of the things. Like, oh, how could that be? No, that. Oh, yeah, I guess. But whenever she's told that story over the past 30 years, I wasn't in it. A lot of that stuff. But by the way, it takes two across the board. So you're right about the growth. I just don't know where it came from. I don't think it's necessarily the passage of time. I think it's because of the life we both lived in. It's the mileage. That's it. It's what we always say. Not the years, the mileage. Man, you are my therapist. This has been a half an hour about my life. Come on. People want to hear about other things, I'm sure.
Well, I mean, that's just one of the things. I mean,
you'll have to rebroadcast this on the men's health show you got there.
Yeah.
PCast.
Yeah. Talk about it?
No, I'm saying you'll have to rebroadcast. I'll just send you the file and you can put this up there.
Absolutely. No. Yeah, without a doubt. Like, this is the type of stuff we get into all the time because it's all about introspection, about, our vulnerable moments and lessons we've learned along the way. And your guys' life, to me, is a testament of lessons that you're learning along the way. What you got there? You got a prize box?
It's a box of thrills.
I love that you have a box of thrills.
It's a box of everything we got along this trip.
Oh, that's fantastic. Show and tell.
Yeah, but it's going to be so much. I don't even know what to do. All right. We looked at the Newcomb.
Please tell.
We looked at the Newcomb's hat the other day. All right. So there's OG Newcomb's hat. Okay. Some stickers and a picture. We looked at that. This is the box my beautiful custom watch that I'm wearing from Rocks came in. I didn't say that right, but you get the idea. This was made by Coraline from the East Coast Feed. For Nicole and Jay. She said, "What is your favorite animal?" We said kitty cats because, of course, we just lost Meow Meow. And she drew us this beautiful kitty cat. So we have that. There's that. And this is for Abby, who is another friend of mine. We've talked about him before, Steve Straley. He was at our wedding and one of my best friends in the world. She just graduated high school while we were down there in Florida. And we got to talk to her and do FaceTime. So this is a thing we need to fill out and send back to her, graduation wishes, and it's like some advice. Dear Abby, always blah, 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 never blah, blah, blah. It's like Mad Libs. Enjoy blah, 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 visit blah, 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 advice and well wishes with love. So we'll do that.
Should we do that on the show one day?
I guess. Oh, here you go. Phyllis and Dave, as a couple, have a business card. It was in their guest bedroom.
That's amazing. I love that.
So I took one. I don't want to zoom in because of the real info there, but that's really them.
That warms my heart.
I think it's hilarious. Here, I'm going to show Instagram.
They go to a home show and they give the person the business card and say, "Here you go. This is us." Oh, that's great. That's adorable.
It wasn't just one. I mean, they had a whole stack. So I don't think it was like a promo thing. Or do they do just that? They give a whole stack.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Candy and I have never had a business card together, although now I'm going to pitch the idea.
It seems like you'd be the couple that would have it. Well, you, anyway. Scooby Doobies. We went to this place in New York, and I wanted to give a shout-out because we got Doobie Depot. We couldn't think of it. We kept calling it the Doobie Brothers. Oh, jeez. Kept calling it the Doobie Brothers. Anyway, Doobie Depot. Hell of a deal. They sold her 20 top shelf mix party doobs for $150. That was one hell of a deal. This whole thing was full.
Wow.
I put them all in individual things. I know.
Perspective. How
My
long
wife
would that
goes through
last
weed
her?
like Snoop Dogg. It's ridiculous.
Okay,
we went through that 20. That 20 came and went. And I brought some. And we bought twice along the route. I guess we were gone for a month, but still. It was a lot. Anyway, so shout out to
Can I
those
go
guys.
back to business cards for a second?
Sure.
Sorry, I apologize. I just, before it goes too far away.
There's not enough here. Let's go back. Here, hang on. Go ahead.
Did you see the Letterman Gary Mule Deer clip from the Mule Deer documentary that's coming out?
No,
Okay,
I've been
so
away.
Garrett-
We haven't gotten to catch up on any of that stuff yet. I'm behind on the YouTube channel and everything.
Yeah, okay. It's a clip that came out a few days ago, and Gary Mule Deer's got a doc coming out, and Dave's on, and he's telling a story, and he tells a story about how Gary Mule Deer always used to give him a different business card, and it was a business card of somebody else. and he would scratch off the name and put Gary Mule Deer on top, and he would scratch off the phone number and put his phone number on there, and he had a stack of them all from different places, and that's the business card he would give out.
That's pretty
and
funny.
That tickled Dave. And so, anyways, I thought that was cute.
It is funny. I wish I'd seen it. I'll see it when it comes out. This is all out of order now. It's the Wigwam Motel.
I'm sorry.
They give us no. This pile of thrills is not in order. You're fine. You're fine.
I see.
I know. I snap at people on such a regular basis that everyone's on eggshells. You're fine. Here's the Wigwam Motel. That was fun. And then here's our key from the Wigwam Motel. Stupid fun, by the way, the Wigwam Motel. Yosemite, I've gotten mixed feelings about Yosemite because we had such a great time. And we renewed our adventure pass at the booth when you get into Yosemite, because it's like $35, I think, to enter, but it's $80 if you want for the year for every national park in the country. Plus, that includes that includes Angeles National Forest. So we always get the adventure pass. Okay, renewed it at the gate, and we drove the bunch of hours into the forest so that we could go to the Ahwahnee, what I tell you, Mike, the Shining Hotel, right?
Yep.
And we always leave our windows down, especially when it's 1,000 degrees, and it was in the forest with a nice canopy, so it was actually kind of nice. So we left the windows down. Mm-hmm. While in the hotel, while in the Shining Hotel, which couldn't have been more than a half an hour with the bathroom breaks and everything else, and all the sightseeing, and all the looking for room 237, all that stuff, somebody stole the adventure pass. And the other cards that we had on our little visor there, because I left the windows down. So it's on me for leaving the windows down. But somebody went in and they stole, like the AAA card, the PCA card, Porsche Club of America cards for Nicole and myself, the Adventure Pass, and one other thing. Maybe they thought they were credit cards or something like that. And they thought, oh, wow, I got the bunch of credit cards. Man, are they going to be disappointed? Anyway, so that was a weird one.
Is that the only, way you were a victim of crime on this trip? Was that the only way you were?
No, I consider this summons here in Nevada a crime because I didn't do any of the things that they said I did. We may have done something else, but even still, we don't know about that because it didn't seem like it. So we thought we were fine. We definitely didn't do the things that are on this, but we can get to that later. So we feel like we were robbed here because this is a $415 ticket that we are going to drive back up and fight on Halloween of this year. Don't get me started.
You got caught speeding in Pahrump, Nevada?
No, this is down at Lake Tahoe, and we got a ticket for going in the exit, which we didn't do. We went in the entrance. Failure to obey traffic control device. Vehicle came through Sand Harbor's exit. Vehicle did not come through Sand Harbor's exit. Vehicle did not, adhere to, fail to obey. Anyway, whatever. And then no fee paid to enter. Now that part is true, but only because when we went through the entrance, there was nobody in the booth where sometimes they would. But the previous two parks we went to in the previous 2 days didn't have anybody in the booth on the way in. You paid on the way out. So we thought, oh, okay, whatever. So we went all the in. There was a guy outside the booth by a flagpole on the phone. But as we pulled up, he turned around and walked the other direction. So, maybe he was the collector guy. But regardless, we didn't feel like we skirted anything. Because the guy would have waved us down if we did. Anyway, then you can go through, or it was a boat ramp. We went down there to take a picture by the water, right? It's the only reason we even went there at all, because we were driving by. I can't believe I'm telling you this whole story with a box of thrills in front of me. So whatever. So you can go to park. You can go this way to park, or you can go straight here to go to the boat ramp. And we went straight to the boat ramp. And I wasn't sure exactly how to position the car, so maybe I kind of made a U-turn and did a backup kind of thing, whatever. Maybe she thought I came in from somewhere else because she saw me turning around. I don't really know. But she never asked any questions. I was out taking pictures of Nicole and the yellow car out by Lake Tahoe, and we hear blue, and I turn around and the pickup truck's coming, and I posted it. You saw a picture of it. And
Yeah.
And there's so much crazy irony in this. I can't even say it on the air because it ties into other things we've talked about here today that are, it's so weird. It's so this shit could only happen to me It's crazy. And I don't mean anything with the summons. I mean, like, the officer's name is ridiculous. There's some crazy shit. And anyway, she never asked any questions. Not know what are you doing here? Where are you coming from? Like, none of the normal shit. And I was just like,
Yeah.
She was looking at the car. She got out, looking at the car. I'm taking pictures. I'm out of the car. And she's like, I said, did I do something wrong? Like, are you here for me? She's like, yeah, for one, you came in the exit. And I go, I did? Over there? She's like, yeah. I was like, okay. She's like, license and registration. I was like, are you serious? She goes, yeah, license and registration. I was like, all right. And we started going through that whole thing. She never asked what we did or whatever. She just kind of, in her own mind, seemed to have an idea. And we didn't want to spend all day there or have her get any angrier and dig deeper and whatever the heck. You know what I mean? We were like, let's just go on with the day. Good vibes. But once we got the summons and looked at it and everything, also I thought it would be like a $25 park ticket, right? You know, or $100. I don't know what I thought, but I didn't think it'd be $415. So when we looked at all that stuff afterwards, we were just like, it was so weird. We go, she kept mentioning the thing, and I explained. I was like, well, we just went to Rushmore and Devil's Tower, and you paid on the exit, and there was no guy in the booth. Whatever. She didn't care about that at all. She said, I wrote you up for this, and I wrote you up for not paying the thing, and since you didn't pay, I would like you to leave. And we were like, okay, I mean, we're going to leave anyway, but I'm happy to pay. We weren't skirting the $8 or whatever it would be. There was nobody there, and there was no sign or anything that says, hey, $8 or however much it is.
Yeah.
So I said, can we just pay the fee anyway? Like, we'll leave. We just came to take a picture. She's in a wheelchair. She can't even walk. Like, we can't go to your park. We can't go swimming or anything. We literally just came to take this picture. And I said, can we pay the fee? And she goes, I'd rather you just left.
Wow.
And I go, we have an adventure pass. Does that cover this? And she goes, it does not. She never even stopped walking away. She just over her shoulder. She goes, it does not. It was so good. And then, because we're sharing this whole trip with everybody. So then I pulled over the moment we got out of the park because they watched us drive out. By the way, they watched us drive out the exit, which was nowhere near the entrance that we came in. I really think it's just a misunderstanding, but she came over hot and pissed off without asking any questions, and we never got to the fact that it was probably just a misunderstanding. So when we pulled over, and I'm telling the whole story, I can't believe how much time we've wasted on this. I say she reminded me of somebody from Twitch. She was young, she was attractive, she seemed like she was made up a little. She looked like a cop character from a show, like from Reno 911 or one of those type things. And I described in the video, I said she looked like a Twitch girl, whatever. So once we got to our hotel for the night, I looked at the name because I said I wanted to look the person up because I just had a feeling. The name is a coincidence I cannot describe. I won't even go into it. I told Nicole, whenever we tell this story, we'll have to take this part out of it because nobody would fucking believe it, so we'll just remove it. But taking that aside, looking up the officer's name, which is a first initial and a last name, that's all that's on this. I put it into Instagram. Boom! Result. Guess who's playing guitar on Instagram? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Playing guitar for the masses. Like me. Like me. Please like me. Oh, it felt so good. We laughed so hard. The name sent us into a tizzy for about a half an hour where we just couldn't believe it. And then punching it in, getting the result, and seeing that we nailed it was it was a very strange experience. I felt like James Bond. Remember that scene in James Bond when they're on the train, him and Vesper, and they're sizing each other up, and they both fucking nail it,
Yep.
And it's kind of amazing. It was just like that. Casino Royale. All right, from Kazman. Moving along. Oh, so anyway, the thought was then, do I tag her in the video? What do I do now? I definitely want to follow her.
Yeah.
I think I might have followed her. I can't remember. I don't think I did. I plan on it, though. But I've got to think about how I do all this because keep in mind I'm going to have a court date with this person on Halloween. All right, from the Kazman, when we were in Connecticut, he got us the yellow car, beautiful. He got us a time machine, beautiful. and he got us a Night Rider, but it happens to be the Night Rider, the Super Pursuit mode, which I believe is the one that's not over there. I think Kit's over there and Car's over there, so I think I'm going to take this out right here live on the show. There we go. And I'm going to put this over here. Yeah.
I always like Super Pursuit mode, even though it physically was impossible to have all the gadgets on the car. When they finished the season finale and had the C for convertible, Super Pursuit mode would have been impossible because of the whatever.
Well,
But I
everything
loved
else
it
would have been
anyway,
impossible.
Especially the back part. The back part raising up the big electronic spoiler Tron-like thing on the back of the car. I loved Super Pursuit mode.
I hated it because of everything you just said, and both the convertible and the Super Pursuit mode would keep it from being the actual kit. But there you go, regular kit, and then there's car, and now we've got the Super Pursuit mode kit, which, by the way, was built a block and a half from here at the Barris Custom Shop, because he did actually do that one.
Outstanding. God, I love that show.
So all those molds and everything were built right around the corner. All right, so Yosemite, I told you about that. Mixed feelings, but what a park, what a place. Can't wait to go back when it's not 100 degrees. I will say this, even though it was 100 degrees, they had just had those crazy rains come through, though. So the waterfalls in Yosemite were off the hook. It was incredible, truly incredible. Bonneville Salt Flats stickers. This one's already on the car. Put it on right after we did it. Route 66. Some new stickers we'll have to apply. More Wigwam mode.
Did you spend a lot of time on Route 66?
No, very little. We plan on doing the whole thing on another trip.
Nice.
There's apparently a Route 66
cool.
podcast. Didn't know anything about it, but this was at the Wigwam. I want to get into special gifts. Did not expect this at all, but when we went to visit Mark Probonic down in Jacksonville, he gave us this beautiful print of his car. Super, super cool. So I have to get this framed, and it'll probably end up in the green room somewhere.
Very nice.
So it was cool driving around with this car and yellow car together, going to Porsche Jacksonville, going to Brumos collection. Very cool. What is this here? Now, this is a box that arrived while we were gone, but for some reason it's in here, so it's got to be related. And then these are weird receipts from weird places. Like I would save like toll receipts or like the bridge receipt into Maine or like an ice cream sandwich someplace just to show we went there. Not like I'll ever actually make a scrapbook, but when you're on the road, it's just like, can I have a receipt? It makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's Maserati? Isn't that the Maserati logo? And Michelin. Oh, this is a Drive Towards a Cure pack. Oh, all right. Deb, we love you. Drive Towards a Cure. They raise money for Parkinson's and Team Fox. And Michelin's involved. Oh, excellent. Good stuff. Oh, there's a bunch of stuff in here. All right, let's see what we got. There's a pen and some more stickers and deals in here. This has got to be a thermos of some sort. Tumbler. They call them a tumbler. Isn't this thrilling? Haggerty. It's a Haggerty tumbler.
Yep.
Wonderful. Thank you, guys. We joined up. We signed up for that because I guess if you drive the most mileage, you get something. I don't know. I just put this shirt in the water. Excuse me. I don't know. I guess you're entered to win or something. I don't know.
It's still good.
Or maybe you're raising money for the foundation. That's what it probably is. We saw Jeff Zwart while we were in Colorado, who gave us the new Zwart Speed shirts.
Yep.
He just
Very
raised
nice.
Pikes Peak, so that's good and fun.
That's a perfect under a blazer with a pair of jeans t-shirt right there.
Perfect. Speaking of Jeff Zwart, here is his new book, which we did not have yet. And this is all of his, I see, Zwart, nice. All of his, the last page of Panorama has one of his pictures each time, and then so here is a book of all the pictures and the explanation of what's in it. Now, the funny thing about this, stylistically, I kind of want to do something similar to this for our trip, a book of some of the best photos with the story on the opposing page. Every photo has a great story behind it because we are who we are, and life is full of ridiculousness. So kind of pairing the photo with the story, maybe? If anybody knows how to do that, can help me. I've already taken the pictures and I know the stories. I just need someone to help me. This got wet along the way, but it's the new episode of Christophorus, however you're supposed to say that, the Porsche magazine that Porsche puts out. We got this while we were at Porsche, which was cool, with Ray Schaefer. And lastly but not least, it is the Haggerty for the 75th anniversary Porsche auction. This is the catalog. We already had the auction. You remember that a few weeks ago, and we were supposed to leave for this trip. But you know, some people keep this stuff forever. And this is a pretty historic auction. So very cool. Thanks, Ray Schaefer.
Fantastic.
A lot of stuff. We got a lot of stuff this trip.
My wife was asking me about cargo space in yellow car for a trip like this. You guys obviously had to pack lean and mean. Even the box that you brought back, I assume, took up valuable real estate in the boot of the car.
The box was here. That was here when we got
rafters?
back, because that was the drive towards Acure stuff. But you know, the other stuff, it's one thing at a time, right? So it just kind of you just throw it in someplace. I don't like packed to the bejesus. I don't like packed to the gills. I don't like things overflowing. I don't do things that way. I don't keep my hard drives that way. I don't keep my closets that way. I think I grew up with somebody who used to do that. Just put it in there and it'll fit. So I don't pack a car that way. Nicole's clothes and mine fit into one rollerboard, I think they call them. Basically a flight attendant style suitcase that you tow behind. And that went in the frunk, along with a bag of car products, just things I would need, a couple things of oil filter, I clean the wheels it's ironic, our car is filthy, but every single day of that trip I cleaned the wheels and windows multiple times. Well, wheels in the beginning and then the windows multiple times along the trip. So like just little things like that. That's what was in the front. And forgive me for TMI, but diapers, we need diapers in our situation. So not we, but we. And so, you know, there's a couple bundles of those in the frunk. In the car, we had everything else to backpacks. All our toiletries and like just, you know, grabbable items that we might need, like granola bars or Cliff bars, whatever, like that for the trip. That was in the car behind me on the floor. The wheelchair is where the back seat would be, behind me. And another backpack had everything for the show in it that we ended up not needing at all. So theoretically, I could have left one big heavy backpack that I lugged around fucking everywhere, because it had the computer, the iPads, the iPhones, all of the rigs, the sound, the fucking microphones, all of that shit was in it. Heavy. So stupid. Heavy and valuable. I'm lugging a heavy, valuable thing I don't need and never use around the country for 32 days. And I'm pissed off they stole my adventure pass.
Ugh. See? But at least you know that. At least you're like, well, it could have been.
Yeah.
They could have stolen Late Night Playset, the production of Late Night Playset, but they didn't. So.
Yeah, the truth is that also the only other place it could have happened would be Breakfast Club on the Friday we got back. I just don't see that happening. I just don't see it. I don't see anybody from Breakfast Club going in there and stealing our stuff. It just wouldn't happen.
No.
Just don't see it. I'm sorry. I'm going on and on, Mike.
That's what this show's about. It's about going on and on about the trip. We're doing well.
So let's see. So I wish Nicole was here so she could tell you about her, you know, what it was like for her and her parents. What it was like for me and her parents. Amazing. Wonderful. We have a history as well. And for them to see her now, I feel like all of that whatever got erased, and that was really, really important on both sides, in my opinion. Again, not my place to be talking about, but it was a really good thing that needed to happen, and we did it just in time, I would say. And
I'm grateful to hear
I've said
that.
this before, like they're all wonderful people, and the first Christmas, way back when we first met, the first couple Christmases, we would go to Rochester, where she's from, at Christmas. And the first year, I remember telling her, I was like, it feels amazing to have a family to go to Christmas. Like, that's, I haven't had that in a long time, and never like this. So it was pretty cool. And I feel like while this was a summertime version, all of that holiday we're happy to see, all of the love that comes during the holidays or is supposed to, was there. And I hope Nicole felt it, because I certainly did. So shout out to the Schwatz.
That's excellent.
Also, we saw her aunt and uncle down in Florida, which was awesome. And then we saw, forgive me, we're getting groceries delivered at the same time. And of course, come out. Getting groceries delivered, and Nicole saying, I finally have my jeans on. Should I still come out or not? 50 minutes to get her jeans on. Now, I can help her a little bit with that. She prefers the independence while she still can. So I know we're going to be posting videos, and I think people have asked in the past, oh, well, how come you don't help her? Because the natural thing is you want to help. She's got to do things her way, and I help wherever she lets me, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Very much so.
It's a shitty thing we're going through. Like, the fact that we do this with you and we're sharing it still blows my mind, because we never intended to go this far. This was supposed to be a little thing for our memories and whatever the heck. It was never intended to go this far.
Yeah. What episode is this? Are we over 600 now?
565.
565. Yeah, that's unbelievable.
But like you pointed out earlier, it's pivoted a number of times. It's grown and died a bunch of times. So it's probably like 100 episodes of each, right? Probably, when you get down to it.
There's a lot of hours on the YouTube, man. I was scrolling through it the other day. There's a lot of hours up there.
Yeah, I feel like, isn't it time to pull that down and start fresh? I mean, my God.
I'm not that guy.
Really? You leave it up forever?
Archives are important to me. Yeah, whether it's music or whatever.
Archives of things that are important are important. Archives of whatever are not important.
Well,
and I don't know if our show is all that important. I'd like it to be. I'd love to put out a show with the type of substance where, like, this show's important, damn it, and you should watch it and listen to it, because we're covering important things. We're saying important things. I feel like we're just sharing our life and the way we live it, and whether or not you agree with that is up to you.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I even going back to some of the early episodes, the Life with the Ryans stuff.
Well, there's some good stuff in there, because Nicole was very able.
Yeah.
There's some really good stuff in those early Life with the Ryans stuff where it's the couple going back and forth. I don't like watching them because I've grown so much since then. Yeah. But when you watch the dynamic of a couple being honest with each other, there's some really good stuff there. It's just really raw. It should be edited into something better. I'm not saying it should be. It could be. It could be edited into something better.
Yeah.
I forgot programming announcement. If you weren't here on Tuesday, yes, the Don Giller Fun Time Happy Hour will no longer be seen. I know, we're all upset about it. It's a bummer.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Nobody else gets
I'm in a very I feel like I'm walking on the blade of a knife about commenting on anything about that at all. So I just agree. You're probably right about. Although that being said, I don't know that we ever would have seen a show, even in the very, very, very best of times, called the Don Giller Happy Fun Time Hour. I don't know that show could ever exist.
No, I think it's more of an ironic title.
Frequency. What's that?
I think it's more of an ironic title.
Yeah, I think so too. But we didn't talk about Paul Rubens, though. Speaking of Happy Fun Time Hour, and how do we pivot out of that into? We didn't talk about that, and that's something that I know, if your trip and all of that stuff wasn't, front and center, that is something we would have led with in one of these shows for sure, because I know you have a very similar sentiment to the man that I did, and many, many, many people are are sad about this. I mean, the zany, like you look at Mr. Rogers and how we felt when he passed. You look at a guy like Paul Rubens, and not the same in many, many, many respects, but also in many respects hitting a chord or same similar frequency to many people and their nostalgia. Yeah, that was a hard one.
Yeah, I agree. R.I.P. to Paul Rubens. Pee-wee's Big Adventure was big for me. Pee-wee's Playhouse was big for me when I was a kid. I think later in life, I just appreciated the man and like who he was that created those things. I like that he was open and vocal about how he created a character that he eventually grew to hate because he couldn't do the things that he wanted to do because the character was too big. But then he grew further and overcame the hate because he realized how much good the character was doing for other people and how much they loved it and how much it meant to them. Somebody who goes through those journeys and shares them, and I found that he was very vulnerable throughout his career, his act. The Pee-wee character is insanely vulnerable.
Yep.
I was a huge fan of the man, let alone his art, and never got the chance to know him very well. I used to see him someplace. He used to host a game show that I can't remember what it was, but it was at TV City over in the big studios next to TV City, at Television Center Studios, but not in the main building, over in that other building where Letterman was when he would come to LA for the Late Show.
Right.
And he would smoke cigarettes out there and stuff, but I never got to know him or anything. I think maybe I always thought one day we'd work together or something, and that wasn't the time because I was just a PA. I don't know. Would have loved to have gotten to know him. Seeing so many people that I do know sharing their love, admiration, sharing messages. Like Carol Leifer posted one of Paul Rubens' happy birthday messages to her from a while back. And
a lot of those.
It's just beautiful, just beautiful. It makes me love him so much. I will say this: if you have Apple TV or iTunes, Pee-wee's Big Adventure is $4.99 right now. Go buy it. It's stupid not to. It's $3.99 to rent it. It's $4.99 to buy it. Own it forever. I love Apple for not making it $20 this week. I feel like they could have, but nope. It's $4.99 in the bargain bin, so we can all enjoy it. We already owned it, so can't take advantage of that. But it's such a good movie. We watched it the other night, and as our own little tribute, and it's just so good. It's so many levels. It's like a cartoon because it's zany for the kids, but the message is so beautiful for the adults. It's good. It's good stuff. Also, it's genuinely good. Like the quality of the content is good. Whether or not you like the content, I can't help you there. That's it's up to each individual. But the quality of the content is good, despite what you might think about it.
Earlier Burton stuff was like that.
So many levels.
Like you look at Edward Scissorhands too. Like Edward Scissorhands was, very much hit you right in the heart as well, with a kind of a bigger message around the entertainment and around the zaniness and whatnot. I appreciate that as well about Big Adventure. Did you like Big Top, Pee-wee?
Not as much.
Yeah.
Mainly because it's not as good. It doesn't have the quality of the first one. Did someone else direct it?
No, it doesn't. I think so.
Yeah. I mean,
I
that
can
goes
find
a long
that out
way.
right now if you want. I don't think it was Tim Burton.
Yeah, that goes a long way. And then Pee-wee had his hand in everything for the show. So, I mean, he had, so much control over that for the TV show. I mean, Paul Rubens. Yeah, definitely a loss. But I also feel like so many of our heroes from our generation are gone. I remember this happening with my parents when, like, the Rat Pack started to go and the Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, Johnny Carson era. Not Johnny Carson yet, but that era when they started to go.
The big show.
I remember them, my parents talking about it, We're just that age, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you think about like George Burns and guys like that, like the old time show business. And I remember when I was like 26, 27, and I forget who it was that went. And one of my buddies at the time, he looked at me and he said, at some point it's going to be Bill Murray and we're all going to be absolutely shattered.
Oh yeah.
And he said that, like, I mean, I'm 40, so he said that 20 years ago. and it didn't resonate with me the way that every single time one of these ones go, the ones that were really, really, really impactful to me, I go back to my friend Steve saying that to me, and yeah, I mean,
The
people
fact
we
that a
look up
couple
to
have
and
already happened now,
vicariously
I
we-
feel. Shit! I
Yeah.
stepped on you again. Go ahead.
No, you didn't. No. You're good.
The fact that a
Yeah,
couple of
it's-
my big ones have gone now, I'm used to it. You know, Shanling, Norm Macdonald. This one is huge. Paul Rubens. I feel like there's another one that I can't
Yeah.
think of that was somewhat relatively recent. Yeah, they're huge. Oh, Harold Ramis was a huge loss, even though it was a while back. That was a
I
huge
was gonna
loss.
say.
Huge loss.
Oh man, the first time I watched Ghostbusters Afterlife, the first night it was available in a theater here. Like, and I mean, nobody's going to the movies. It was COVID, and I was in the theater, and when the For Harold came up, I just waterworks. Like it really, really, really hit me hard. That was what a gut shot that was, and what a lovely tribute that was. That movie to me is always going to be one of the most special movies ever. Certainly in the modern era, but because it is such a love letter to him, and like when he would pop up in like Knocked Up or some of these other movies that
Knocked
he
Up's
was
a good
in,
one. Knocked Up, and I always think of As Good as It Gets.
Oh, yes, even better than Knocked Up. Absolutely. Knocked Up is a little more recent, and so that's the one I pull. But yeah, As Good as It Gets that's a great pull. Absolutely. Love that. And
As Good as It Gets was. I mean, Knocked Up was funny because it's Seth Rogen asking his dad for advice, and somehow it gets in there like, what do you know? You were high all the time. He's like, no, I wasn't high all the time, just every weekend and most nights, something like that. Most nights and every weekend. Hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, would you tell the people about Hello Deli for a second while I check on Nicole?
Absolutely. So, well, first and foremost, Jay's show, Cars and Comedy, my show, the Letterman Podcast, brought to you by, in part, Rupert G's Hello Deli. Yes, nestled within the womb of the Ed Sullivan Theater for over 30 years, Rupert and May and their various staff from time to time have been serving the good people of New York with soup and sandwiches and all sorts of other, delightful culinary pleasantries at very affordable prices, Slurpees, that kind of stuff. But they also are a source for Late Show with David Letterman merchandise, Late Show with Stephen Colbert merchandise, hats, mugs, T-shirts, all of that stuff. Go to hello-deli.com and grab them. And I would heartily recommend, I'm not wearing one right now, but Rupert also has Hello Deli T-shirts, Rupert G's Hello Deli T-shirts, which are going to be a collector's item very, very soon. Within the next few months, within the next quarter, I would say, are going to be collector's items. So go to, because the deli is about to change hands. There's more to come on that. Lots of stuff going on in the background. Things are just kind of being parked and finalized, but there's lots more to come on that. But yeah, go to hello-deli.com and you can get a lot of this merchandise packed by Rupert himself. And I know for a fact that as he packs, he doesn't just use packing peanuts. He uses love. He packs with love. Sweet. So go to hello-deli.com and get your Rupert G or your David Letterman, or even if you like Stephen Colbert merchandise, go and get it while you can, because we don't know exactly what's going to happen with that site and with everything else in the next few months once the deli does change hands. Rupert has said to me he would certainly like to continue that part of it, but it's not finalized yet. So join in the fun of Rupert transitioning to the next adventure in his life by being part of the last hurrah of the Hello Deli.
Well done.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, man. I talked to Rupert last week, and he sent me a text. We were texting back and forth, he and I, and he had a very, very Rupert line. We were texting, and then suddenly there was a break, and he didn't text me for about an hour and a bit, and then he got back to the conversation, and he said, "Sorry, Mike, I was out getting a haircut so I could look like a stud." That's what he said. That's what he texted. And I just thought that was a fantastic Rupert line.
That is a fantastic Rupert line.
Nicole.
Look who's here.
Hi, Nicole.
So I literally just had to pick this one up off the floor. That's what we're dealing with. But she's here now. How you doing? You all right?
Awful.
I know.
Today sucks.
I know. I'm so sorry. We've been out here chatting about you. We talked about your family and stuff. How was that for you?
It sounded good.
Oh, you heard it? You could hear what we were talking about?
Just voices. I was over in the middle of the room.
But how was... Do you want to talk? We don't want to talk about it. It's okay.
Oh, my family?
Yeah.
It's good to see them.
Yeah. That's what I said. Don't get MS. It's not fun.
No, your energy goes away really fast before you know.
Yeah. I can't believe you did it. You're all dressed and ready.
I mean, it took forever. I guess, sorry.
Nah, we'll figure it out. I gave everybody the rundown. Said, we're trying to figure out what to do. Maybe change this up a little bit, especially now, probably. Yeah, we'll figure it out. It is what it is.
You're great.
Mike, how you doing, fella?
I'm doing great. I mean, obviously, I'm empathetic to what's going on down there, but even, this Nicole is much, much, much better than no Nicole. That's for damn sure.
I agree. This is the first time we've ever wheeled in. We had to wheel in today and to pick her up off the floor. But it's not bad. How do you feel?
Fine.
Really?
It's better than not having it.
Okay. Oh, you're going through so much. I'm so sorry.
It just added a lot of emotional stuff today that I didn't plan on. So, a reminder to always be prepared for everything.
People don't understand. It's not just the physical exertion. It's emotional stuff. Anything that causes you to think heats up your wiring.
Yes, sir.
Which is why she medicates. It's sucks. It just sucks. It sucks so much.
So I'll figure it out. This is stuck. I'll figure it out.
This is stuck. You'll figure it out? But you want me to figure it out? Here you go.
During the trip, did you go through any states that that medication could have got you in any trouble?
Yeah, we made sure to not stop in any of them, and quite frankly, avoided them in most scenarios. There was a couple that you have to drive through, so we we intentionally didn't stop. I think you're not supposed to travel with it at all. I mean, theoretically, you're supposed to buy in whatever state you're in, but given her situation, quite frankly, I kind of just chanced it. I mean, given her situation, I feel like if somebody was going to say something about her having, it's not like she was smoking doobs in the car. You know what I mean? It just happened to be whatever. So I think given her situation and the fact that she's legitimately disabled and it's like obvious, I feel like hopefully they would look the other way. Thank goodness it never came up. Thank goodness. And like I said, we're kind of, it's not like I brought enough for the whole trip, but we brought some to get us so far. Then we had to buy more there to get us to there, then there. So we thought about it. It just, you can't plan it all, sort of, whatever happens.
It's a good thing the twitchy park ranger didn't get suspicious about it, or it might have been another ticket entirely.
It's so funny because she's a, what did it say? Let me look it up. What's fun? I told him the whole story about. I didn't say the name though, for obvious reasons. I was like, it's just too much. I told them that it's too much of a coincidence.
I don't know why it's obvious reasons.
Oh, I'll tell you off the air, and you'll fucking lose your shit, bro.
Okay.
This is in.
Is she a hell of a guitar player?
Is she a what?
Is she a hell of a guitar player?
2, 3, 4. My baby don't mess around because she loves me so. When the sun no fuss show.
Oh, good for her.
But does she really want the consistency?
She should do it in her uniform to get more viewers.
Don't try to fight the feeling.
Congratulations, you just made her an influencer.
Former Desert Ranger turned Lake Ranger. She's a Lake Ranger. Well, she wasn't taking any of my shit. She's got a BS in wildlife ecology, guitar, cooking, fitness, and nature.
They should make a G.I. Joe character out of her. What would her?
She's
code
a
name
G.I.
be?
Joe character. She's a G.I. Joe character. Yep. Good stuff. Can't believe we just... Outcast, right? Outcast?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that
Outcast.
song. I mean, when Andre 3000 does it, specifically.
Yeah.
I danced on a private plane with Jack Black to that song before it was famous.
Well, he would have been famous, but not School of Rock famous.
Jack was, the band wasn't yet.
Right.
That song was not out yet.
Oh, I see your point. Oh, you were dancing with Jack Black when he was famous, but the band wasn't famous yet. Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. He had some inside scoop kind of thing.
He did, and he had an early album, and we asked the pilot if we could play it.
You know I'm not a Jack Black fan, but he also has that eye for quality. He knows what's good.
Yeah. I wasn't a fan either. I think we were mutually...
I loved him till he was the
Tolerable.
main guy. I loved him as the second or third fiddle and shit. That the record store movie with John Cusack, he's great in that.
High fidelity.
Mm-hmm. He's in the one with Bruce Willis and Richard Gere, where they end up shooting his hand off with that crazy gun. They're going to kill the president or something like that. Do I have any of that right? What's that one called? The Jackal. The Jackal. Remember The Jackal? Anyway, he's great in
No,
that.
I didn't watch it.
All these
The
little
Jackal.
bit pieces, he's great. But then, like School of Rock, I was like, oh, it's just too much.
You're welcome for that, too.
You did that one, didn't you?
Yeah.
She opened that movie. You opened some big movies from those
We,
years, man.
you and I are diametrically opposed on that. My wife and I, School of Rock is comfort food for us. We've watched it probably 20 times together.
Maybe I need to see it again. I've been wrong before, Mike.
Oh no! It's not wrong. It's taste.
The kids
And
are
I understand
great.
how it
I'm
can be.
friends
Plus,
with
okay,
their
hold
parents.
on. There's a friend in our life with the parents of the kids.
Yeah.
Ah, right on. Okay, his character in the film is Dewey Finn. Candy and I have a guitar player in our life who is like the living version of Dewey Finn. But he's not goofy and funny and all that stuff. Like, I mean, he is, but not for comedic purposes. Like, that's his life. That's who he is. Like, one great rock show will change the world. And he's in his, 50s now. And he has been waving that flag ever since he was, 15 years old. And that's the life he's lived. And we can't watch that movie without thinking of this guy. So that's part of the reason why we also love the movie so much.
How cute. Does
Yeah.
he play an instrument?
You opened that movie. What's that, Nicole?
Does he play an instrument?
Oh no, he's an insane guitar player. Insane.
So yeah.
But
So, yeah.
if
Yeah.
there is an opportunity to turn a 32 bar solo into a 300 bar solo, he will absolutely walk through that door and do that, just like Dewey would. Yeah, if he could make the whole show about him doing a shredding Eddie Van Halen type solo, he would do it and has done it on many occasions.
Speaking of, what do you think
So,
of the
yeah.
Marty McFly, the Back to the Future musical? What are your feelings there? Eddie Van Halen and shredding
really
made me
wanted
think of Marty
to see it.
McFly.
Yeah, I really wanted to see it when I was in New York last month.
Was it out
Yeah,
yet,
but,
or they were doing previews?
Previews, yeah. But I went and hung out with Steve Young instead.
You made the right
I want to go
choice.
see it. Yeah, oh, totally. But I do want to go see it. Candy and I are talking about going in October, and if she'll let me pick the musical this time, that's the one I will pick, probably.
Sweet. Let me know what you think. I'm
You're-
curious. I'm
would
curious
you
to
go
hear how
see
it
it?
is. I don't really want to, but I mean, of course I would. Yeah, I mean, I would do it. I think of everything that's involved in us going to the theater now, and it's like, well, that's kind of a tall order. But like, if we were gonna, if you take all that out of it, would I see that show? Yeah, of course, of course. Also, I think it's a lot of new material, which to me is fun, and songs. There's no songs in the original Back to the Future, so that should be interesting. Hey, everybody, it's Biff. You know, break into some sort of a song. Hey, Butthead.
Do you think they must sing "The Power of Love" though, right?
Well, I mean, you bring up a very good point, but I haven't heard any tie-ins with Huey Lewis in it. Have you?
No.
To that point, I wonder if they're doing Van Halen in the guitar scene. I don't know. It's all interesting.
That becomes a rights issue at that point.
And whether or not they want to participate. Anyway, I was just curious. Did we cover the road trip? I know we went through the box of thrills.
We did. I did have more questions, but I mean, we can ask that along the way. One of the things I wanted to ask is how fun, the pictures, again, I know the behind the scenes, the pictures are very shiny and behind the scenes, maybe not so much, but there were some that just got to my heart. Seeing you guys with Kat got to my heart. Like that looked like a moment that was in the making for a long time.
That was the best. I loved that.
Good.
Same.
She's like, the moment you left, I've been redesigning the house for the next time you're there. Like she and Sarah have designed a ramp for the stairs, for those 4 staircases, so you don't have to worry about that. There's like all sorts of stuff. So thoughtful.
She texted me too that she missed us already.
Aw. So let's see here. I know what you're talking about, Mike. It was just, this trip was like a bunch of trips instead of just a trip. There we go.
Yeah. That made me so happy.
Yeah. Jason, full Viking. Yep. It was wonderful to see her in person. I mean, it's funny these days with the technology we do have. It's pretty impressive what we're able to accomplish. And the FaceTime, I did a meeting yesterday with 2 different people in different locations. It was much easier thanks to FaceTime. You feel like you do see people because you do see people. It's not the same energy, but it's better than nothing. And I just think if I had this when my grandparents were alive, I mean, it probably would have been pretty cool.
I think that too.
Everyone gets more involved because of it.
I think that about my grandparents too. It'd be so neat to just be able to talk to them and see them.
Yeah. Oh, you couldn't make it to the graduation party, but look, here we all are. Oh, it's like you're here, Grandma. I don't know. Commercial. Yeah, I love the Tom Hanks movie. It's Tom Hanks and Jackie Gleason called Nothing in Common. Not a popular movie, not a blockbuster, but it's great. And what I just said reminded me of it. So go watch that movie. Nothing in Common. Tom Hanks, Jackie Gleason. It's worth it. Really good story. Anything other than Cat? Sorry to put it all on you, buddy.
No. No, it's okay. We did landmarks last episode.
Watkins Glen. We did Watkins Glen.
We
That
talked
was
about
fun.
family.
Oh, yeah, let's go to Nicole's family. How about this picture right here?
Amazing.
Do
The first time
love
seeing her in a pool. That other picture of her in the pool with her legs kind of spread so she could brace herself up against the wall.
Yeah,
I
easy,
love
mister.
That was delightful to see too.
Yeah, that was kind of an amazing. But
Yeah.
here's the thing. I'm looking at you here and I'm thinking, oh, God, that strength. And what you have today is 20 times less than that.
Every changes because my brain rewrites what my body can do with what actually can do in the moment, and that happens constantly. So it wears this out when I'm trying to make my body work. It's a mess.
The wires are the wires. You can't decide what wire to inflame and which ones not to. They just all go.
Yeah, and I talk to all of them and tell everything to calm down, and that some know what that means and some don't.
Good grief. This picture here, when I said the daughter graduated, and there was like the little advice card. It's this guy's daughter, Steve Straley. This guy has been in my life since I was about 16 years old, but been in Nicole's the entire time we've known each other, because he's a very special man. just one of my best friends. Good dude. Good dude.
So good to see him.
Did you see Danbury Chive while you were there?
Oh yeah. Oh, I never posted that picture.
Okay.
That's not intentional. I need to post it.
I
I'll
don't
post
think
it.
you did.
I'll post it today, maybe. Boy, it's unintentional, because there is a big group shot of us together.
Is there an East Coast feed with you guys?
What a bummer. No, we intended to get to where does he work? Ridgefield BMW, and do it from there. And we were going to do it with the car in the shop and getting an oil change and everything. And one thing led to another. I told you there wasn't enough time to do anything, and we never stopped. The whole thing was a blur.
Yeah.
Take that other thing that we were talking about before aside. I mean, you have to have more tolerance with us if you're going to be in our life, because everything changes. We can't keep to plans. We can't, everything we make is a miracle, and everything we intend to make won't get done. I don't know why I didn't post the Danbury Chive. That's a mistake. We stayed with Danbury Chive for 2 or 3 nights. We seemed to hit the anchors on the weekends, which was intentional, so that we could, maybe it was 2 nights, whatever it was. But like we got to Florida on the first weekend, so we were able to, my mom's house and whatever. And then we made, it seemed like Danbury Chive was the next one. And then your parents were the next one. Yeah, so that is it. One a week, basically. Every weekend, we sort of parked it for a couple days and then just did stuff in that area. But for the most part, we just hung out with the people we were with, because your family, my family, 10 years.
We haven't seen them.
Math, yeah, it was necessary. And there isn't enough time. We didn't, you know what I mean? If we spent a week, it wouldn't have been enough time. So it just is what it is. This is one of my favorite photos, even though it was, there's nothing that special about it. It was kind of cool. And we know some people who are there today, as a matter of fact. It's the, is it?
Now, did you go in?
No, this is a mural on a building somewhere else. It's not even at the Comedy Center. It's like across the river. But no, we did not go. We did not. We were not able to go into the Comedy Center simply because of life. It would have been so awesome, and we planned to in the future, but just couldn't do it. I mean, literally, you see the pictures, and your brain fills in the. One. What? Can you turn your mic up? Because I keep talking over you. I'm sorry, buddy.
Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. I think it's up all the way. I don't think.
Oh,
does that do
so
anything
I have to
it?
Shut up. Shit.
I think I'm up all the way. Sorry about that.
I want to know what you want to know.
You said no. We didn't go in. Didn't make it there. It's like, just see the rest of the other episodes. I mean, the tonnage of things that you would have gone into, or could have, if you could have gone into, if logistics made it possible. Like, that's the whole thing about this trip. So, I mean, I think but that's a very cool mural, though. I thought that was totally on the outside of the building.
A building, for sure. Is that what you... For sure.
Not the actual comedy museum.
No. In fact, the comedy museum itself is right up against the river. Like, it's kind of an incredible location. Like, it's riverfront property. Somewhere I have a picture of it, but somehow Instagram loads very slowly on the computer. Fast on the... they don't want you using it here. Remember that we used to broadcast from the iPad in here live, but then they took that ability away. They're like, oh, no, iPhones only, please. Knock that shit off. Here it is. So it's behind, like to the left, you see that roadway to the left? That's a bridge that goes over the river.
Yep.
So the back of that building, and it's not even as deep as it looks like it could be, is right there on the river. So it's not as big as you would think, or as I thought it would be. Especially because somewhere in there is that Lucille Ball Auditorium, I think, unless that's a different building.
Yeah.
But regardless, our situation is what kept us from going in there. Nothing with them. Yeah, I mean, you said it, but we posted what we could do, and nothing else. I'm trying to. I mean, like antique archaeology. This picture here. We're over there. I mean, we were on their property for what? 60 seconds to take this picture at two car positions.
Wow.
We didn't even go in there. And we found out afterwards, I think Mike Wolf was there that day. So, I mean,
Right.
that would have been cool. But the amount of energy it takes for her to get out of the car, into the wheelchair, into the store, deal with the people, get back in the car. She's done for the day, and nobody gets that. Not nobody. Most people get it, but there are a few that don't, and that's always a bummer. I guess those are who I'm talking to. Because you just look at this face. She's giving it all she's got. This one right here. I don't mean to talk about you like you're not here. We were for an hour.
Because I was in there rolling around trying to set up. Life's weird.
This one of the best ones for me, one of the best locations we visited. To me, it was just something I wanted to do my whole life. So for me, it was kind of a bucket list item. We didn't realize until afterwards when we went home and rewatched the movie that for these pictures anyway, specifically, we put that car exactly where the angle for the movie is. So no wonder it looks exactly like it did in the movie, because we accidentally put the camera right where it was. But man, Devil's Tower. Very interesting experience to go see it in person. It is a weird thing that doesn't make sense, and your brain knows that, and there aren't many conclusions you can jump to. Wild.
I'll jump to one. It's a Jedi temple.
Oh, a Jedi temple. Okay. So there's an inside to it. I like that.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, no, but this brings up a very interesting question for me anyway, because you two are kind of energetically plugged in many ways. You guys can go to different locations and not just experience the location, but you feel the location. Were there any places on this trip, because you saw some pretty awe-inspiring things as well, were there any places on this trip where energetically you're like, whoa, this is an interesting place to be?
Absolutely.
And where would some of those places have been?
Ironically, probably the best pictures. I think the pictures are capturing the energy, because whatever I take what I feel. I don't take necessarily the best picture or from the right place or whatever. I try to capture the feeling of whatever the thing is. I feel like I'm capturing energy more than people and subjects, light and energy. The Devil's Tower was without a doubt one of those places. It has an energy to it that is, I can't explain it other than like the Steven Spielberg of it all. You know what I mean? Like, oh, there's something else going on here, bigger at play. The Salt Flats, same reason. There's a lot of history there. We know somebody who died there, Jesse Combs. But it's also a prehistoric dried up lake bed that used to be, you know, I mean, its existence is bizarre energetically. So that was one. I feel like being at Zwart's house on the Continental Divide was one where he took this picture. By the way, just
That's Colorado.
talk about that. You talk about a bucket list item, having your favorite photographer shoot your favorite car, in one of his favorite locations, which happens to be on his property. Yeah, that's a bucket list item. Look at that picture. amazing.
Yep. Yep.
And being there on the Continental Divide was really neat. Hard to describe, but he's in the valley, and those mountains are the Continental Divide. So he took us all, with that. I guess we can do it here, can't we? Oh, it's not. Oh, hang on, one more. Oh, jeez. Oh. There we go.
We're currently traveling at Zwart speed.
That's right. Hang on. It'll be a while.
So he took it. Oh, jeez. Over and over here.
Traveling at Zwart
He.
speed.
Try to mute it, and I turn the screen off. He took us all over the property in that thing, and he's got a bunch of ponds back there. There was a moose and a baby moose the day before we were there. That place had an energy to it. The Ahwahnee, Yosemite, and that hotel in Yosemite, without a doubt, had an energy for me.
Oh, yeah.
Not just The Shining. It's got its own thing going on.
Agreed.
Yep.
Like, that place is alive.
Yeah.
The New York ones, obviously, for the obvious reasons. Speaking of Yosemite, look at this shot.
Yeah.
The waterfalls were just
a different kind of energy, but yeah.
Spewing. It was so cool.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Truly, it was kind of difficult to post only because every photo was sort of post-worthy. And I feel like the stories actually made out better than the wall or whatever you call all these things. Like I posted so many stories every day. Meeting Mater was pretty cool. What we're calling Mater with a
That
hood.
was fun.
In Helper, Utah. And another thing I'll say, road tripping. If you are road tripping, don't be afraid to get off the road. Oh, that's terrible. Sorry. It's pretty Nicole back here. Sorry. There we go. Some of the best pictures and some of the best places we went were either wrong turns I made. Oh, I missed the navigation. Oh, we got to get gas here. Blah, blah, blah. With all the, we found some of the coolest places that we would never have stumbled upon if we didn't, get off the beaten path. Did we talk about Breakfast Club since we've been back? This isn't the trip, but just because I'm here looking at it.
Last week.
Yeah, this was driving up to breakfast because it's always something. He was driving up to Breakfast Club on Friday.
There's the video. I thought we were going to maybe finish the show on the video.
Oh, I just realized they'll probably block us on YouTube because we didn't start the fire, but it's always something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How was that? Was that you felt the heat on that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It went right over my face. It was so hot.
Yeah. It's always something.
When we finish this episode, and I'm not by any means saying it's time to, we should definitely. Hey, hold on a second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wait a minute. I think that we owe everybody who has hung in this long and watched the first episode. You saw a piece of, I think we're looking at some evidence here.
Oh my God, you're right. 3 million views.
So that's probably the way to finish.
Do we want to talk about which video got over 3 million views on the internet, and we're not even happy about it? We're not even excited about it. We're pissed off about it. It's so ridiculous. I got to go back here. It was the first week of the trip. Where is it? Let's see. Boy,
Yeah, it's a pretty
that?
crazy thing that you saw.
Well, yeah, but it wasn't real. I mean, it was crazy to us because we were punch drunk, whatever you get on them, whatever. We're just loopy on the road for so long. And between, Austin, Texas, and New Orleans, I think, is where we were driving. So it was a big, long leg. And we just saw something. I go, wow, that's ridiculous. It's just such a weird thing to not be covered up. So I said, like, what is this, evidence or something like that? And it was like a tank had exploded, like an underground, either a gas or a kerosene or propane or some kind of tank had exploded and burst. It even kind of looked like it had been cut up, like as a movie prop, like, set up. Regardless, we're driving by, and I videoed it. Here you go. I mean, there's not a whole lot of excitement to the video. It's just me laughing like an idiot because we were so punchy. And the people seem to like it.
What could only be described as evidence? What the? What could only be described as evidence?
I mean, it's not anything. You know what I mean? It's not anything. And that not anything. How do I find out? Can you not see it on a? Maybe you can't see it on the desktop.
It was like 3.2 million yesterday.
Yeah. It's got 6,800 likes and 274 comments, and it was...
What could only be described as evidence?
Jesus, just shut up, you guy. Yeah, it doesn't show the views on here like it did on my phone, but you're right. It's over 3 million. It was 3.2 something million. That is so fucking frustrating for somebody who tries to make content to be like, here, look at this stuff that I really like, and I think that you'll like too. And you know where we are. It's 14,000. We just passed 14,000 followers. Thank you to every single one of them. Thank you. Each one of you, I should say. It's kind of amazing that we have that at all. But the fact that 3 million strangers watch this bullshit over and over because somebody sent it out and said, oh, look, it's the submarine from the Titanic. I'm guessing, because most of the comments are, that's not the submarine from the Titanic. I'm like, no shit. At what point did I say that? And then I realize what everyone's doing, and it's just perpetuating, and then 350 people have shared it, and like, oh my God. It was so frustrating. So frustrating. So frustrating, because at the same time, I was trying to set up shit like this in our hotel room because I thought we were going to be doing shows throughout. And I got a bunch of jabronis who don't give a rat's ass about all my effort over here. They'd rather watch my Explodo Tank video. Makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, give me a break.
I gotta say this, like, I gotta say this, like, that was when those pictures of your setup in the hotel rooms, and one of the few times that you and I did talk a little bit on the trip was that night, and I felt, I gotta tell you, the empathy that was pouring out of me for you that night.
I felt it.
I was like, oh, I felt so bad for you because you were in such a frustrated place.
Can I tell you, that was probably one of the worst nights
knowing
of
how
our...
bad you wanted.
That was one of the worst nights of our existence together because I lost it so bad. She lost it. Everybody just fucking lost it, and we were both in burn it to the ground mode. So that was a rough night. It was a rough night. Of all the nights on the trip, I feel.
Yeah,
like
I could feel it through the phone.
Do you?
Yeah.
One of? Not even?
That was a bad one. I just stick on that and don't forget.
Yeah. Nobody's perfect. And
well,
we
I'm
were
glad
really
you got it
just
out of the way early.
We bit off more than we could chew. I bit off more than I could chew. I really thought we could do it. And it was just expecting too much of everyone and everything. It was putting too much pressure on myself. It was expecting too much of her. I mean, if anything, that was a valuable lesson to learn, even though it was an ugly one that night. Luckily, the next day everything was fine. Mm-hmm. But like, it is what it is. You don't want to go there. You don't want to, whatever. Thanks for being there on the other side of things. It was what it was. Yeah. Any comment at all? I don't want to speak for you.
There were days like that where I don't know how weird I'm being until I see it from other people. And that was one of those days where I thought I was okay, and I'm clearly not.
Yeah, and on the other side of that, I feel like, oh, most times I'm able to deal with whatever all right. And that was one day where I didn't deal with it well at all. And I was aware of it. And then I beat myself up. You go through all this stuff. I'm jumping around here, but Mike, this was a cool one, just from the sake of being cool. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jamie Lee Curtis, Tom Arnold. At the end of it,
Yes.
True Lies.
That was a great moment too.
And it's that bridge right there. And right to our side, if I get over there, you can see where they blew it up. This didn't work at all. This didn't work at all. Well, we saw it. Pretty cool. You could kind of see it, I think.
Oh yeah, totally.
Were you able to see the gap?
100%.
Oh, good. Okay. From the driver's seat, I couldn't see it
yeah.
because of the wall and everything. Luckily, the camera was high enough. I guess I could get it. That, to me, will always be such a neat thing just because they really did it. It's so rare in the movie business. Do you do something, especially something substantial and really over the top like that stunt in that movie? If you don't remember, the movie True Lies, this is towards the end. It's Tom Arnold, of course, but it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jamie Lee Curtis, and they're spies, and there's a whole helicopter chase. So she's in a limo, and the limo driver's dead, big shootout and all that stuff. And the limo's on this bridge, full speed ahead, and there's a helicopter chasing them, and it blows up the bridge. So she's going to go down into the water, and then Arnold Schwarzenegger is on a different bridge. On a different helicopter, and he swoops in and grabs her through. She's out the sunroof. He's off the helicopter. It's a spectacular stunt as the car goes off, careening into the ocean. It's so rare that wouldn't be done with. Back then, it wouldn't have been CGI, but miniatures at the very least, or they would have built a fake bridge somewhere else and done all that stuff. They really did it on the real 7 Mile Bridge. They really blew it up. They really did all of it. And it's still there that you can see today. That, to me, is really, really neat.
That's really cool.
From an engineering standpoint, that bridge, because they built a new one, that's what we're on right next to it, that bridge section would have needed to have been removed anyway. So it's really more of just a crazy happenstance of, oh, we have this stunt. Oh, we have this bridge. Yeah, but we need to blow it up. Oh, well, so do we. It kind of was the most perfect, stars aligned kind of thing. And that's why, again, to me, it's so neat that it's still there. The idea is that the new bridge was built with some height to it in a certain area for the other boats to go under. And then they wouldn't have been able to get past the old bridge, of course, so they had to blow up a section of it, remove a section of it. But man, the fact that 20th Century Fox or Warner Bros., whoever paid for it, probably helped Florida out a little bit.
Probably.
Anyway, that was a good one. Energetically, any other places? I think of the Ahwahnee, Salt Flats. Mount Rushmore was neater than I thought it would be because there was an energy there. How's that? I thought Mount Rushmore would be wicked lame. I thought it would be presidents carved into the mountain, and that's all it is. But energetically, pretty cool.
I thought I wouldn't care, but they did, oddly.
I feel like, and I've said this before, this is going to be too long of a podcast. We're going to go full 2 hours here. I feel like the conspiracy theorists are onto something with that one because of the energy there. I feel like it is. We just watched the National Treasure 2 the other night because they shot that there. I don't know if I buy that one, but the idea that Borglum carved it with the idea of it being sort of a hall of records, kind of like the Sphinx, an American Sphinx, North American Sphinx. I kind of buy that one, especially because there is legitimately very real. You can look this up on YouTube if you want to see videos of it, or you might even be able to book tours. But there really is a back to Mount Rushmore. You really can hike up to it. There really is a tunnel into the back. There really is a casing with a plaque on it that has theoretically digital archives on it for the nation and maybe the world. All of those things are actually real and do exist. You can be checked out. So then I go, oh, well, well, why wouldn't the story go the whole way that like where all the conspiracy theories go? Coming up next on Tinfoil Hats, we got to have him back.
Yeah.
Sam Tripoli. Sam Tripoli is a great guy and a very funny comedian, and we should have him back. I like him a lot. And he used to host a podcast called Tinfoil Hats. I think it's called something else now. Anything else? Gone long, very long. Shout out to the New Mexico State Police, who were very, very awesome and very understanding and very accommodating by asking questions. He asked questions. We got to the bottom of it. Everybody went about their day. Unlike Officer Twitch Guitar. Officer Coffee Shop.
Andrea 2000.
Oh, very nice. Wouldn't that be great if that was the name, A2000, and we looked it up? Anyway, it was a great trip. Can't wait to do it again. We're already talking about doing it again, which is bizarre. Look at this. Look at these damn sunsets down in Florida. Say what you will about Florida. Look at that freaking unedited photo from Florida.
Wow.
That was me picking up dinner for the third time, I think, that night from that one restaurant we had to order from because it was the only restaurant on the Key where we stayed. So they're like, well, you get a 10% discount here because it's the only one on the island. Anyway, that's ridiculous. Oh, yeah, it was our anniversary. Happy 10th anniversary. You didn't even get to see this.
I did with the photos.
Oh, yeah. And this was on the way down there.
But we are at the southernmost point. This is it. Well, given the nature of all this, I don't think we're getting out of the car for it, but we are at the southernmost point. This is it.
You can hear the Cuban music in the background. Here we go. Here's a beautiful picture of you on our anniversary night. That's pretty ridiculous.
Oh.
It's ridiculous. I mean, is that sky ridiculous? So then I went over and sat in the white chair next to her, and then we gave her medication for the evening, and we watched fireworks because across the bay there, across the Gulf there, whatever that body of water is, they were doing fireworks because it was the 3rd of July. Isn't that neat?
That's beautiful.
That is one of the photos from this trip that doesn't look real to me. It looks like the cloud was photoshopped. It like, oh, that can't happen in real life, so you couldn't have taken that picture. There are a few where it was interesting where the lights ended up just naturally. This one with the light right above your head was natural, and then there was one even when we came back. It was the one at the this one. Where those lights were to me is so insanely awesome on the yellow car and you in the teepee.
Yeah, I see that.
I mean, you would think I sat there for 5 minutes and made that like a perfect shot. You remember how it was. We said, oh, we got to take a picture for your parents. Snap! Sent it off.
It's usually how it goes with you.
Not that I'm so good. It's the wonder mentality. Want to do a quick Phyllis recap?
Yeah.
She sent an email right before the show, which is coincidentally right when Mike it was the first thing he asked about on the show. Just watching Tuesday's show now. You both are brilliant. So natural, so funny, so real. Nicole, your short quips are hysterical. Your genuineness is fabulous. So agree with your assessments of the trip. So physically exhausting and daunting, but the rewards far outweigh it. Awesome is the only word to describe the entire experience. You feel small, free, huge. Your mind opens. Your mind forgets. Openness to be creative in the now. I have had that creative experience at sea. Yeah, definitely stoned. Love you madly. Me.
I feel like we turned her on the bottom.
Yeah, we left her some medication because she insisted. Really? She can get it down there, but her card is expired, I guess, and she needs to get a new card. I don't know.
Wow.
The trip was amazing. Did we talk about it? 2 hours in the studio over here. Once you got here, I wanted to start over again. Christmas time, the plan was to go do the North Route because we agreed to go to your dad's 70th birthday and Christmas time at your family's. The one foreseeable problem I see with that is that it is indeed the North Route in the winter, and weather has gotten more extreme, not less. It's possible we may have to go south again for Christmas, but then summertime, we switched this whole thing up. We went the wrong route, basically, this trip. And then summertime, maybe it's a 2-time-a-year thing. Summertime, we go north up to Alaska, come back down through Canada, all the way across and down.
Sounds smart.
So there you go. Summertime, Canadian road trip, Grand Tour.
Mm-hmm.
All right, good. You heard it here first. The decision's been made. Thanks to Coraline and our kitty cat. Oh, speaking of which, you know what? I watched this before, and it made me so nostalgic, so I'm going to do it again. We've already... Nobody's watching anymore anyway. Roll it, Hal. The window. It's the truth. It's the truth. What are you going to do? No biggie. Oh, we could always do this. Ready?
Oh,
Hello.
oh, meow meow.
Hello. Hi, meow meow.
Prettiest animal ever.
It's funny, I said the David Letterman influence the other day, but I really should give proper credit because I do believe this would be Merrill Markoe influence here, and I just want to be fair there because our dream would be that Merrill eventually someday hears about this show even existing and would come on as a guest. That would be my
We're
dream.
friends on Facebook. I think I'm going to go bold and tag her on this one.
Okay.
Because her name
Because
comes up a
how
lot.
could you not?
There's so much influence.
God.
She's so pretty.
Arr. She's doing her best pirate impression now. Most people didn't know that we had a cat that did impressions. That was before I learned that you could turn the volume down on that thing at the end. Found that out later. All right. Buddy, did we recap the road trip? I feel like we did it, didn't we? It was a great trip. Thanks to everybody who came along.
I feel like you recapped the road trip and then some. I do. And I hate to say this, but my girl and I are going to a rock and roll show soon, so I do need to disappear here soon. But I do think that we recapped.
You didn't
the
need
trip
to say it
very,
at all.
very well.
We were saying goodbye. But I hope you enjoy your rock and roll show. Who are you going to go see?
All right. It's a band called The Steadies. There was a Canadian band called Wide Mouth Mason that went pretty big. They toured with the Rolling Stones and stuff. And the
Whoa.
lead singer of that created this new band, which are kind of like an eclectic reggae, very happy music. So Candy and I are about to go see a happy rock and roll show.
Awesome. Good vibes to you both. There's a delay.
Well, I
We developed
appreciate that.
We developed
I
a
appreciate
delay.
you guys. I love you both very, very much. And I'm glad I got to see you tonight, Nicole.
Same.
We love you, buddy. Thank you so much for everything. Thanks for, your support during the trip and everything since and before. And just thanks for being awesome.
You guys too. So friends are for, like Dionne Warwick says.
Oh, yeah, I forget that's her. That's how every dance ended, isn't it? You bring the lights up and you dance with that song.
I didn't.
Really? Don't you remember? Wasn't every school dance? And that's what friends are for. Keep smiling. No? All right. Well, on that note, we love everybody. Thanks for hanging in with us. It's a weird, what a long, strange trip it has been, but it's a weird life we're going through. We're navigating it every day for the first time. I don't know how you're doing it. You really are the magic to the whole thing. I'm kind of just going along for the ride and following. You please hang in there, and would you please let us all know if there's anything anybody can do to help you?
If I can think of it, I will. Thanks.
A lot of time, I know you just like to be left alone, but everybody, including myself, wishes they could do more.
If anyone's a masseuse, I would love that message, but that's,
Well, we can figure that out. You want a massage?
yeah.
Oh, well, this is it. So see what I'm saying? You ask for it, and we'll figure out a way to do that.
I'm getting better at that stuff.
Awesome. Have a great show, buddy. Thank you so much. Love to Candy. Thanks to everybody else. Good night.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Love you both very, very much.
Same.
Good
Love
vibes.
you, Love you, mister. Nighty night.